Saturday, I was incorrect. The rate of return for this building here in the town hall is 2.8 years. 10 years, so I got the wrong number. So these projects are proving to be very easy to execute and get done quickly. This building went flawlessly, no change orders, 100% invoice. And then we'll start with the public works garage. Easy to execute, and it's better lighting, and the cost recovery is.
Do we have a revolving fund to capture these funds yet?
No,
I mean,
no, this
okay.
is, my request is to establish that.
So, I don't think this article does that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure of the right wording, but
Well, I mean, we have a whole host of reauthorization motions, and then we have the motion to establish a new one for the police equipment revolving house. So I would think something similar to that, Greg, would suffice in order to capture these funds, and make another article putting it up with the reauthorization of the revolving funds and the establishment of the police equipment one. Make sense? As far as similar
All right, my
language?
recommendation would be then, we've got one more shot at this on next week.
Right.
We'll just pass over this.
So I think we pass over this one here and establish another article for our consideration next week before we sign the warrant. And then we can vote on our recommendation on that at that time, or it'd be a town meeting at that point, we'd be ready for print. But conceptually, I think the public should know that it's a good idea to establish the revolving fund to capture these rebates to fund future projects.
Well, there's another issue which comes up in the next article.
next
No.
article,
Same idea?
they're gonna give you basically a report of progress and recommendations for future phases for the Energy Study Committee.
Thank you, Jim.
We realize funding is tight, but this is kind of trying to get the information about how well this has gone so far from a contracting standpoint, and some of the potential savings.
Yep, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
So, are we gonna make a recommendation that an article be inserted? The warrant?
I'm assuming we're gonna change the article, and then the money would flow in there, right?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't
Either
think we
way.
have to insert an article, all we have to do is change the article.
Whatever.
If, yeah. Yes.
We can get started while they bring that up. You should have two handouts. The first one is slides that's going to give you an idea of where the Energy Committee is at this moment and where we're looking to go in the future. The second is a sheet that gives you a little more detail on certain of the projects that we have been looking at. My name's Dave Patton. I'm on the Energy Committee. We have representatives, probably everybody except one person couldn't make it tonight from the Energy Committee, so we would enter into any questions that you might have as we go through here. As Dick said, we just want to sort of give you an update of where we've gone. Progress has started out slow, but I think we have a lot of potential for projects going forward. So let me just give you an idea of what I want to talk about very, very briefly. Hit that second slide, please, Wayne. I'll touch on the next couple minutes. The initial projects that are underway, and Dick mentioned that. I'll call that a phase one. We'll talk about what's underway and where we're at. We'd like to talk about what we'll call as our near-term recommended projects, phase 2 and phase 3, that we'd like to have the selectmen consider for upcoming town meeting. And then we'll also talk a little bit about the future and what that might be, and what we want to look into over the next few months. I think you've already seen the results of one of the projects, the first project, which is the town hall lighting. When John was getting it going, we actually had a meeting here, and I'm not sure, you folks spent a lot of time here. You may have seen it halfway in progress. And to me, the change in the lighting in the town is absolutely dramatic.
We see things much more clearly now. Thank you for that.
We're happy that you. As was mentioned, the payback's about 2.7 years. It was done under existing Commonwealth contracts. It was done in about 2 months, no change orders, so it was on budget. We're anticipating about a $6,000 rebate from the light department. The next project, which is going to be going ahead in the very short future, is the DPW facility, which again is going to be lighting with an anticipated payback of about a little over 8 years. These two projects, among some of the other ones that are necessary, if you look on your other sheet, you'll see that the fixtures and the lighting bulbs will not be available in the very near future. So not only do we have some good paybacks, but it's going to be incumbent upon the town to change out the fixtures in the near term anyways. I'd like to talk about what we're looking at as we'll call phase 2 for the recommended projects we'd like to do in the fairly near term. The first one is the Hood School, and you'll basically see what our anticipated cost is. I want you to bear in mind that all these numbers that we have here are our best estimate, and that they may vary a little bit, but we don't expect them to vary that much as we actually get into them. The Hood School is, as you can see, a very quick payback. It's variable speed frequency drives on existing 30 horsepower circulating pumps. The next one, which we are suggesting, is the Flint Memorial Library. We want to coordinate this and have not had a chance to do this yet with the trustees of the library. But again, we have, as the next two ones, both the Flint Library and the Senior Center, we have obsolete fixtures, reasonable paybacks, not an extensive amount of outlay, and a good potential for rebates and reduction in overall energy for each project. Not sure if there's any specific questions or just go on.
Doing good.
But the timeline as far as this phase 2, if you get funded,
I think I'm speaking for the committee that we would hope that we could get funded for phase 2 this next year, whatever we have to do for actions through the town.
From start to finish, that's about 6 months worth of work. The VFDs are specialized contract. The other two are probably the same contract used for this building. And I would say Flint Library, 2 months or so, and Senior Center probably about a month. So it's these kind of demand reduction, light change out time are very easy to execute. So it's the beauty of them.
and as far as the recommended funding sources for this, portion rebate, portion trustees of trust funds, and raise and appropriate, or whatever else we can come up with, is that what I'm getting?
Yes.
We haven't identified a source per se.
Yeah. There's no identified source that I know.
We need some help with identifying sources, but okay. But again, this revolving fund would assist.
That would help.
That would help.
That's right.
And the initial rebates that we can anticipate on the first phase, is about $6,000?
Yeah,
Initially.
6,000 for
Here.
here.
Probably 6,000 or 7,000 for the public works facility.
How quickly do those rebates come from, this is from Reading Light, correct?
It can be, we take it up, usually what we do is we,
It's Joe Balicki from Reading Library.
Yeah. Hi, Joe.
we take it up the bill itself, so that can be done when the job's finished or inspected. Then next month.
So we take it off the,
Really quick.
Well, we could do it off the bill, or another, you can cut a check,
Exactly.
send it to the town, it goes in that fund. I think that was the selectman preference.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
now currently we take it off the bill, but it's the choice of the, selectmen.
well, if we're gonna set up a revolving fund, we like to check.
Yep, take a check.
So again, that would be quickly, so you could have approximately $12,000 in seed money
Correct.
Right.
moving forward for the next phase.
Right.
And then.
And some of the state that generating, there's positions that's better for state federal grants.
Right.
I saw in the paper, Salem paper recently, where I think Danvers got some funding for projects. Now that we've looked at some of the initial data, scrubbed it, and I think we validated these are the numbers that actually are the numbers and the payback. This helps us when your application comes along, opportunity, you can just plug this in. And probably talk at the end, we're just talking demand reduction. There's other projects that I've seen other communities do that are more power generation. Some called cogeneration, where you have a large generator and basically take the heat off the exhaust to heat buildings. And usually having a density of buildings usually makes sense. I was downtown the other day between the two school facilities, public safety. We have several facilities downtown, all needing heat, all needing power. So there might be some ideas that make sense financially, and maybe grants available to generate power with bylaws.
One of the things on the third phase you'll notice is we're talking about high school and middle school lighting. Again, this is some of low-hanging fruit. I want you to be aware that we are very sensitive to what is happening with the middle school and the high school, and the feasibility study that is ongoing. Matter of fact, when we met earlier last week, we had a long discussion whether it would make sense in the timing, and we would not propose to do any of these if in fact we didn't feel that it would be a payback that coincided with what was going on with the middle school or the high school. So I think that's probably enough said on those at the moment. Then when we hit just the last slide, and this sort of sums up where we want to go. And I think Dick just mentioned the heat and power. I think one of the things that is an opportunity to look in to is if in fact we move forward with the middle school and the high school. There's a lot of new technologies out there that we could in fact self-generate, and actually Joe and the rest of the committee will talk a little bit about it tonight. So there's a lot of opportunities that we have not had a chance to look at yet. We have gone after some of the low-hanging fruit, as Dick said, and we look forward to sort of moving forward as quickly as we can under the constraints we have.
I had brought this up actually on Saturday when we reviewed the DPW budget, but in our water facilities, changing the motors to variable speed control motors should be looked at. And
We're looking at it, but outside of this funding source.
yeah, because we have a funding source from water.
The payback isn't as good. Mark already examined those. It's a 10-plus year payback, I believe, some of those. So it's not as attractive as these, but
That
it's
would
a parallel-
suggest that they're
parallel
running,
path to this.
that doesn't seem right to me. Unless they're running full speed all the time.
Well, most motors do in water plants. They're designed to run 24/7.
Well, yes, but
Like a finished water pump is pumping out 24, and a pump that fills up a well, a pit pumps down, turns off like a sewer. Water plants tend to run 24/7. And maybe ramp up and down, or perhaps they have two side by side, so one is constant and one might be variable. I don't really know the infrastructure well enough to speak to it, but it's not cheap. VFDs are in the 13,000 to 15,000 per installation. Not knowing where, could be the numbers where to physically put it in that building. And we have one well where there's no room at all. We need a new building, positive of that. So we are aware of it. We're looking at it under water department funding. I don't think it's attractive as this right now.
so this phase that you're asking for is how much?
50?
One?
Right. If you recall, Mr. Chair, last year we were looking at $100,000, and the Hood School would have been done by now, had that number been the approved number. So therefore, it's been pushed over into this segment. The key here is that much of this work is the tip of the iceberg on savings for the town. Every time we touch something with this committee, it's going to save the town money and have a fairly quick return on investment. And when you have a committee working on projects like that, it's an advantage to the town to approve